What up? Welcome back to the Holy Ghost Rider YouTube channel. I am Zach. Thanks for tuning in again. I've been wanting to talk about a certain topic, and I've been kind of hesitant to just because, well, you'll understand why here in a moment. But I wanted to talk about how it seems that increasingly in this country that Christians are treated rather poorly. And I want to preface that with, I understand that we are extremely lucky in this country to not have to deal with the kind of things that our brothers and sisters in China and the Middle East have to deal with. But that doesn't mean that we're immune to people not liking us. I'm going to try to keep it as light as I can. It is kind of a heavier topic, but I don't want to just completely bog down your day.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Recently there was an incident in Seattle, Washington, which I know a lot of weird, crazy stuff happens there. But there was an incident where some people organized a Christian concert with kind of the intention just to bring people back to Jesus and almost like start a new Christian movement. And it was a family event. You know, people were there with their kids and everything. Grandma's there. It was just a really good old time. Now, what went wrong? Well, it's Seattle. So, a group of activists showed up and started yelling at the attendees and the concert organizers and everyone involved. And it ended up being a situation where they had to shut it down because it was just getting too dangerous for the people attending this concert. And so they tried again. They organized another event. And what do you know? The same group of activists show up, and this time they are there with a vengeance. They are there attacking people, getting actually physical with the attendees. And police are called, and it just turned into a big mess. Now again, I want to stress that we do not have it nearly as bad as Christians in other countries like China and the Middle East. Like, in China, if you're a Christian and you are found worshiping and preaching God, you will be arrested on charges of crimes against the state, crimes against the party. It's definitely not chill to be a Christian in China. They might even consider it treason or something. I don't even know, but I know it's not okay.
It's treason, then.
But even though we don't have the same kind of issues that Christians in other countries do, that doesn't mean that we are not going to face people that hate us. You know, Jesus said, if the world hates you, know that it hated me first. And that's exactly what's going on. They hate Jesus. The crazy thing is that this is a relatively new thing in this country. You go back even just 20 years, this kind of stuff wasn't happening. I have memories as a kid of going to events like this and listening to the music and everything being just fine. No one's attacking anyone. No one's yelling at anyone. We have a good time and we went home. And it's not just these two incidents. Like, this has been happening relatively often over the past 10 years. There are many incidents where Christians will organize a prayer walk or just a time of prayer in a place where certain people don't think that they should be doing that. And it leads to physical altercations. It leads to people yelling at them, getting stuff thrown on them, even Christians getting arrested. They're not the ones doing the agitation, but they're the ones getting arrested. It happens quite often, actually. Then there are, of course, the more violent instances, like, this basically happened in my backyard when I lived in Nashville back in 22. There was the shooting at that Christian school done by this individual because she went to that school and developed a hatred for Christianity. So it really doesn't matter where you are. Even in one of the most Christian places in the country, Tennessee, this can happen. So yes, this stuff can happen, and it does happen. So what do we do, gang? Do we just continue to let it happen? Do we just lay down, stop teaching what we believe, stop trying to bring people to Jesus? I don't think so. I think what we need to do is get out there in stronger, bigger numbers. I think we need to, get everyone that we can preaching the good news.
Good news, everyone!
So the question does unfortunately become, what do we do? What do we do about this? Do we just lay down and take it, not worry about it? Do we stop getting out there, stop doing what we were commanded to do? I don't think so. I don't think that's the best course of action. I think we need more people who are more vocal, stronger in the faith, doing what we were commanded to do, which was go into all the corners of the earth and teach the gospel. I do think it's really sad that we have come to this point where, this is a conversation that we need to have, because Gen Z, let's face it, the world that we live in is not the world that our parents and our grandparents and so on grew up in. They grew up in a world where everyone was at least surface level Christian. And it's not a good thing to be a surface level Christian, but at the very least we didn't have this kind of outcry, this hatred directed toward us. And lots of people have dealt with hatred throughout all of history. Obviously, a lot of people throughout all time have faced a lot of hatred, including Christians, like I've already mentioned a couple of times in other countries. It's not good for anyone to face that kind of hatred, no matter what you are. But obviously, this particular topic is going to be near and dear to my heart as a Christian. And to see my brothers and sisters in Christ facing these kind of things, it does hurt. And I pray for them, and I pray for the people who are attacking them and causing this kind of hatred. I sincerely wish that this was a world where this didn't have to be brought up. The world that our parents and grandparents grew up in, where everyone was at least a surface level Christian, the biggest thing that they would talk about politically was, should we cut taxes or not? Or, man, a $30,000 house, that's so expensive.
You didn't have to cut me off. Think I like it never happened, that we were nothing. I don't even need your love, but you treat me like a stranger and I feel so loved.
That world is just gone, and there's nothing that we can do about it. Except adapt and try to make the most that we can of it. Now, don't take this as just me complaining on the internet. I did tell you we'd get here. But it does suck. Like, I'm 25 years old, and, I'm gonna have to bring kids into a much different world than the world that I was brought into. And to all of you who are like, oh, then you shouldn't have kids. Don't bring kids into a bad situation. Well, look, there are a lot worse situations that people have brought kids into, and sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. Just because things aren't perfect doesn't mean that you shouldn't have kids. In fact, we're actually kind of facing a fertility and, birth rate crisis. We actually need people to have more kids. So, people my age, we gotta get on. I just think that it is something that we can't ignore. We definitely need to talk about these topics, even if they're uncomfortable or if they're a little bit heavier. I don't want to be heavy all the time. I am a very much so fun-loving individual. But sometimes things need to be said. And sometimes you gotta be the one to say them. I think we owe a lot of this hatred towards Christianity to Reddit. The rise of the cringe Reddit atheist is real. And man, they really, like, Reddit really did a number on dudes who live in their mom's basement. Have you ever met a Reddit atheist? I'm talking the neck beard, the fedora, overweight, an obsession with katanas. Look, katanas are cool, but when you just obsess over katanas and think that it's the most deadly and best weapon ever created, it starts to get a little bit cringe. I have straight up met people who are like, yeah, I'd take a katana over a gun because I'm just gonna wait until you run out of bullets and then I'm gonna cut your head off. I'm gonna kill you, dog. I'm not just gonna run out of bullets. Do you think we only have one mag? Do you even know what's cover and what's concealment? But anyways, I'm not here to talk about the merits of swords versus firearms. That's a pretty obvious answer. But those are the kind of people where it's like, I don't know if you've seen the meme, where it's like a dude holding, and it's the neckbeard dude with the fedora, like holding a katana behind his back, and he's like, on my 10th birthday, my grandma gave me a Bible. On my 20th birthday, I gave it back to her in 2 pieces. Dog, that is like one of the most cringy things I have ever heard in my life. I don't know if that meme was like trying to be ironically cringy or if that was an actual post that someone made, but it perfectly encapsulates a lot of people that I have met. No, I don't want it to sound like I am just taking a big old dump over Reddit. In fact, I would like to personally thank Reddit.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.
Reddit has probably done more to bring people to Jesus in the past 10, 15 years than any preacher in the past couple of decades. Because they single-handedly made it cringy to be an atheist. But the cringe Reddit atheists aren't the ones that I'm talking about that can be dangerous. I mean, they do hate us. But they're not the ones that are dangerous. The ones that are dangerous are the type of people that will show up to Christian events and try to harm people. I think those are the people that we really need to watch out for. Like, if you know someone that just talks about, you know, how they don't believe in God and they're an atheist and everything, look, they're not a dangerous person. I don't want to get it, you know, through people's... I don't want people to get it in their minds that I'm saying that atheists are dangerous people who are going to attack Christians. No. They might be a little cringy, but that doesn't mean that they're dangerous. The people that are dangerous are the ones who do talk about how much they hate Christianity and then they act upon it. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think of the new camera angle. I think it's pretty cool. You can see the gauge cluster and everything, and I can still turn it around and have it, you know, look at me if I want you to look at me when I'm telling you something super important. This is something that I have noticed becoming an issue as I have become a young adult in this country. That I know that our parents didn't have to deal with nearly as much as we do. Now, you could take this information and get all, woe is me, us poor American Christians.
Oh, boo-hoo! Let me play a sad song for you on the world's smallest violin.
This is serious.
I know. This really is the world's smallest violin. See?
I don't think that's what you should do. I think this is the time to become louder and prouder than ever before. This is the time to start speaking out. It's time to say, you want to attack us, go ahead. It's not going to silence us. The Apostle Paul went through so much worse than any of us in America are going through. He went through so much more than we did, or we have. I don't want to hear any Christians saying that, you know, we are us poor Christians. No, I don't want to hear any of that. I want to hear people take this information and run with it. Oh my goodness. These are the worst traffic patterns, y'all. I'm not even trying to do like crazy speed, I just hate being in that kind of traffic. Alright, y'all, I just want to say thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate your viewership, and I hope that you take the things that I've talked about today and, you know, don't think of it as me necessarily complaining, but, you know, just think of it as a young man talking about how he feels in this modern climate that we find ourselves in. But, again, thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Y'all have a great day.